Hi everyone and welcome back to another sewing tutorial. I'm Julia, the person behind GENOW Patterns, and I create sewing tutorials and patterns to help you on your sewing journey. Today I have something special for you, which is a step-by-step tutorial for how to make a smock dress or top which is perfect for summer. The pattern is free and you can download it from the link in the description. You don't need to print any pattern, we'll draft the blocks based on your body measurements. I have prepared for you a PDF with detailed instructions on how to take all necessary measurements, and also I will guide you on how to calculate the pattern pieces you need for your top or dress. In this tutorial, I will focus more on the sewing part, so I really encourage you to download the free pattern as it contains all the formulas you need for the calculation. I've also prepared a workbook which you can find at the end of the PDF pattern. This workbook will help you to calculate all the measurements, and also I will fill it out with my measurements and refer to them while sewing my dress, which will be much easier for you to follow along. I would like to add that you can easily customize this dress. You can make it as a top, a mini dress or midi dress. Also, you can change the strap side on the shoulders with ties or wider straps, so it's really up to you. In this tutorial, I will show you how to make adjustable straps, which I think are the most challenging, but the method of attaching the straps to the bodice is the same for all types. So here's the dress I made from this pattern. The fabric is a blend of viscose with linen and little of stretch, and also I made a top version of this pattern using just a viscose. So let's move on the tutorial, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I will be more than happy to help you. So let's get sewing and have fun. Let's begin by cutting the pieces for the dress. Depending on your measurements, you have two folding options. The first option is the full fold lengthways, where you fold the fabric in half lengthways with the right side facing inward. The second option is double lengthways fold, where you fold the fabric in half lengthways with both selvage edges folded inward to meet at the center. So choose the folding option that suits your body measurements, and for detailed instructions refer to the PDF pattern. In my case, I need the width for one panel to be 100 centimeters, so I folded the fabric using the full fold lengthways method, folding it in half lengthways with the right side facing inward and aligning the selvages with each other. I started by cutting the line pieces, so based on my measurements and calculations, I needed to cut two pieces on fold for the front and back panel lining. Each panel should have a width of 50 centimeters and a length of 23 centimeters. I mark points along the length at several places and then draw a straight line. Then I repeated this process for the width. After that, I measure and cut the second lining piece in the same way. For the front and back panels for the main dress, I cut them the same way as the lining pieces. The width is the same as the lining, but for the length I measure 102 centimeters based on my height. Once I cut all the panels, I move on the straps. For the straps, I cut one piece 60 centimeters long, which I will later divide into one strap 50 centimeters long and a strap top 10 centimeters long. In this step, we'll prepare the lining panels by drawing tunnel lines. These lines are necessary as they will guide us in creating the tunnel, so it's important to draw them straight and clearly visible. Use Tailor soap or a non-fading pen for this step because I used Tailor soap which faded quickly, so I had to redraw them later, so keep it in mind. You can also draw these lines after attaching the lining to the bodice, but let me explain the process and the lines you will need first. On the top edge, begin with a 1 cm seam allowance followed by 1.5 cm for the neckline edge. Then create 5 tunnels, each 1.1 cm wide with 4 gaps based on your measurements. In my case, the gap was 3.5 cm, and of course I explain how to calculate this gap length based on your body measurements in the PDF pattern. Then mark these points and connect them with a straight line, ensuring the fabric lies flat and straight during the process. And remember to draw all the lines on the right side of both lining panels for the front and back. And here you can see the drawn lines on both panels. Now overlock the side seams of the front and back panels of the dress and do the same for the lining panels. Next step is to place the back panel on the front panel of the main fabric with the right sides facing each other. Securely pin them and then sew along the edges using a 1 cm seam allowance. Moving on the lining, place the back panel on top of the front panel of the lining with the right sides facing each other. First, pin along one side seam, ensuring the tunnel lines are properly aligned. If you draw the lines in the previous step, double check that the top lines match up with the top and the bottom lines match up with the bottom. For the second side seam, leave the tunnels for inserting the elastic later. So I mark the tunnel points on the left side so I can see them clearly while sewing later. Then pin the side seams, leaving the tunnels open. Here I sew along the edges for the main dress using a 1 cm seam allowance. Now let's move to the lining. Sew along one pin edge using a 1 cm seam allowance. For the other seam, sew along the edge using a 1 cm seam allowance, leaving the tunnels open. Start sewing from the top edge, stitching until you reach a tunnel. Backstitch to secure the seam, leave the tunnel open, then continue sewing. Repeat this process for all the tunnels. Once done, press the seams open for both the lining and the main dress. So here you can see I press the seams for the main dress and then I will do the same for the lining. Now let's move on to overlocking the bottom edge of the lining. Make sure you can tell the difference between the top and bottom edges. The top edge has a 1 cm seam allowance, a 1.5 cm edge, and then a tunnel for the elastic. The bottom edge only has a 1 cm seam allowance and a tunnel for the elastic. Next step is to attach the lining to the main dress, so keep your lining on the left side, then take the main fabric panel and insert it into the lining with the right sides facing each other. Start by pinning the neckline edge, aligning the side seams carefully and then pin all around. Sew along the edges of the lining and main dress using a 1 cm seam allowance. Now turn the lining panel to the right side and understitch, catching the seam allowance. Stitch 1 mm from the edge of the lining on the right side. Let's now cut the elastic based on your body measurements. We'll need 5 elastics for each tunnel with different lengths for the upper bust, full bust, under bust and waist areas. Calculate the length of elastic needed for each part using the provided formulas in the PDF pattern. Multiply your body measurement by a scale between 0.75 and 0.90 to make slightly smaller elastic, creating a smocked effect. Remember to add 2 cm for a seam allowance to each elastic. You can also measure the elastic directly on your body by wrapping it around each area where it will sit, giving it a slight stretch. I would suggest cutting the elastic based on a scale of 0.90 of your body measurement and then adjust by wrapping it around your body to ensure a snug fit. You can always reduce the length if it's too loose. For my projects, I use a scale of 0.75, but keep it in mind that the fit also depends on the type of elastic and your dress fabric. For example, I use the same length of elastic for both my top and dress, but because they have different elastic types and fabrics, the dress ends up feeling too tight. So I would recommend starting a bit longer and adjusting to fit your body perfectly. Even after inserting the elastic into the dress, you can still fit the dress and adjust the elastic as needed. Here are the elastics prepared for my dress. 1 elastic for the upper bust, 2 elastics for the full bust, 1 elastic for the under bust, and 1 elastic for the waist. Insert each elastic into its designed tunnel. To insert the elastic, use a safety pin. Insert the safety pin attached to one end of the elastic through the gap in the tunnel. Guide the safety pin along the tunnel, pulling the elastic through until it reaches the starting point. Once the elastic is pulled through, overlap the ends of the elastic and secure them with pins to prevent them from slipping back into the tunnel. When working through the side seams, you may find the pin getting stuck between the seams, but give it a few tries and you should be able to move forward. Hold the elastics first, pin them in place and then secure them with a zigzag stitch. If you want to try the dress on first, you can make a knot in the elastic and fit the dress to ensure it fits snugly. Trim any excess elastic if needed and then secure it with a zigzag stitch. Also, you will notice that the first 2 tunnels are easier to thread the elastic through. As for the bottom lines, I found it easier to pull the elastic from the skirt's lower edge. Top stitch the bottom hem approximately 5 mm from the edge, adjusting based on the width of your overlock. Then press again the bottom hem for the final finish. Now let's move to prepare the straps. Fold the strap in half lengthways with right side spacing, aligning the long edges and press them. Your strap width will be determined by the inside width of your ring and slider. As you can see on the video, my strap width will be 7 mm, so mark this measurement from the folded edge of your strap as a reference for the next step. Sew along the long edge of each fabric strap, leaving the ends open. So approximately 7 mm from the edge to ensure a secure and flexible seam, creating a tube-like shape for the tie-ups. Trim away the excess seam allowance, then carefully turn each fabric tube right side out using a turning tool or safety pin. Push the fabric through the tube until it's completely turned. Press the straps flat, ensuring the seam is centered along one side. The side where the seam is visible will be considered the wrong side, while the opposite side where no seam is visible will be the right side. In this step, divide the strap into two pieces, one that is 50 cm long and another that is 10 cm long. Thread the strap tab section through the ring, ensuring the raw edges of the tabs are aligned and the right side is facing outward, and pin it. Thread the strap through the slider, ensure the right side of the strap is facing upward. Now thread the end of the strap through the ring with the strap tab. On the wrong side of the strap, pull the strap end through the top opening of the slider, fold the strap downward and continue to thread it through the bottom opening of the slider, pulling about 2 cm through. And I will use a safety pin because my fabric frays quickly and it will make it easier. Now fold the end of the strap and securely pin it to the wrong side of the strap. Stitch the folded end of the strap to the wrong side of the strap. Take care not to sew through the outer layer of the strap, and once you have sewn both straps, ensure they are the same length. Here I had some problems with my zoom in camera, so just press the straps to give them a final finish. To attach the straps to the dress or top, first try on the dress and pin the straps in the desired position. Make sure the side seams are positioned correctly under your armpit and that the gathering is evenly distributed across the bodies. This will ensure a proper fit and balanced look. Since I have previously made a top using the same method, I will use its measurements as a reference. For instance, I position my straps approximately 7 cm from the side seam at the front and 5.5 cm at the back. Next, mark these points from the side seams where the straps will be attached. Now position each end of the strap at the marked placement on the front panel. Ensure that the strap's left side is properly positioned on the left side of the garment, approximately 2 to 3 mm from the edge. Securely pin each strap before sewing them in place. Stitch the strap onto the front panel, sew close to the first top stitch line of the tunnel, ensuring not to sew over it. Then fold the strap over the sewn-in seam allowance so that the right side of the strap is facing the left side of the panel and stitch very close to the edge on the left side of the garment. Once you attach the straps on the front, repeat the steps for the back straps. Ensure that the left side of each strap is positioned inside the garment, so when you fold the straps over the sewn end, it is visible on the right side of the garment with its right side facing out. Once pinned, sew the ends of the straps just as before. And here's the final result. So I hope you had fun following along with this tutorial and found it helpful. Don't forget to grab the PDF patterns, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Happy sewing, and I will see you in the next tutorial.